Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi. Hope you all are doing well. Now we are going to solve another questions which are frequently asked in the Python interviews. Right, let's begin up here without wasting a lot of time. So my first question is here that how to create an empty class in Python. Now this is one of my questions that I'm just gonna answer here, right? That how we just create an empty class in the Python. Now we all know that what we can just do inside the empty class, what we just call from the word that is empty class. So a class is empty when inside that we haven't defined any methods, we haven't defined any class variables. So this is what we call as an empty class, right? Okay, so I would just write out the things for this here. So an empty. Okay, let me just take up in thinner than this right here. Okay, let me just write out here that an empty. Okay, an empty class. An empty class is a class that does not, an empty class is a class that does not have any, that does not have any, that does not have any code defined within within its block. Okay, within its block. So an empty class is a class that is said, which I just told you right now, that what we call as an empty class. I mentioned that thing right now as well, right? So I just mentioned that in like in a little bit easy words, and here it is written that an empty class is a class that does not have any code defined within its block. Right, any code defined actually means the terms which I have told you, that we do not have any methods defined inside that. We basically do not have any class variable defined, and all those things we actually mention out here, right? Fine. Now after this, basically what can be used here? So empty class, so I would just write that it can be. So how can we just create an empty class when we haven't defined anything inside the class, and it can basically show us the error, right? So how we'll be defining it, how we can just create it? So it can be created by using, so that can be created by using the pass keyword, okay? So an empty class can be created by using the pass keyword, right? This is how we can just create out an empty class, right? So basically you can just create out the object for this class outside the class, and basically in Python the pass command is nothing. Basically when we just like to execute a null statement, assume it a kind of a, that whenever you just want to execute out a null statement, so at that cases we just use out this pass keyword, okay, which I have told you right now. Fine. Now what I will just doing is that, let me just give you an example. Let me write out an example here that actually defines out the empty class. Okay, I would just write here the example. So here goes the example. Fine. So what I would just do is that, first of all I'll be making out a class. So class, and let's say my class name is 1. Okay, this is my class which I made out. After this, what I would just do is that I would simply write out here as pass, because I want to make an empty class, right? And after coming out this, let's say A is my object which I had made for my class, which is 1. Okay, and I could just write here a dot name is equal to, let's say I would give it a name as Python. So I would just enter here as Python, right? And if you just want, you can simply print out as well a dot name, right? So okay, just let me take out a highlighter so that I can highlight the text. So this is the pass function which you have used out for, this is where you have made out your empty class. Okay, this pass is the one, this is the section where you have made out your empty class, right? So I hope that this much is very much clear to you regarding that how do we create an empty class in the Python programming language, right? So an empty class is a class that does not have any code defined within its block. It can be created by using the pass keyword, and this is how we just create this out. Okay, now I would just do one thing. Let me just take out this question above only, because I do not want to leave any space, line space between the things right here. Okay, now let's answer out this very second question that we have here, and that is a super easy question which is defined encapsulation in Python. Now this is even an easy question, and even this is a question which is frequently asked many a times. Okay, so make sure to remember out this question very much carefully. So define encapsulation in Python. So I could just define that thing here. So I would just write encapsulation. I would just write here out that encapsulation means binding. Okay, encapsulation means binding the encapsulation means binding the code, and encapsulation means binding the code and the data together. Okay, so it means that binding the code and the data together. Now after that, a Python class is an example of encapsulation. Is an example. Okay, I'm sorry for that. So Python class is an example of the encapsulation, right? So this is what we just meant from encapsulation. So encapsulation means binding the code and the data together. A Python class is an example of encapsulation. Okay, so this is what we can just say out here, right? So encapsulation means binding out the code and the data together, and a Python class is an example of the encapsulation, right? So now this was the second question that we have answered out here. Now let's see that what we have here in the third question, right? What my third question is now asking to me. Just let me take it to the above place only right here. Fine. So my third question is asking me that what is monkey patching in Python? Okay, this is my question which I am having here, that what is monkey patching in Python? So let's write out that thing. So in Python, the term monkey, okay, in Python, the term monkey patching, I would just write that here. In Python, the term monkey patch. Let's just write that only. Fine. So in Python, the term monkey patch only refers to dynamic modification. Only refers to the dynamic. Let me come down here. Only refers to the dynamic modification of a class or module at runtime. So in Python, basically the term which is monkey patch, that only refers to the dynamic modification of a class or a module at our runtime. Right, now let's see an example here. That how we can just apply out that monkey patching for an example here. Fine, let's take an example here. Okay, let me just define out a class here. And let's say that class name is A. Okay, I just made out a class. And what I would just next do here is that I would be writing here. Okay. Above that, let me just write out a comment, and that is actually m.py, my file name. Okay, let's say this is my file name which I have here. Okay, right. So class A, and after that I could just define out a function. So let's say div1, and into the bracket self would be passed, right? And inside that I could just use out a print statement, that is print, and I could just write that simply. Let's say I could just write here 1. Okay, like this I could simply write. Fine, let's say this is the one which we have out here. Right, now this is one of my functions that I have defined. Now when we can then run the monkey patch testing, okay, now we are going to run out the monkey patch testing, right? So I would just write here monkey patching testing. I would just write it like this right here. Okay, so let's see that how we just do it. So first of all, I'll be importing out that file which I have made up, that was m.py, right? So if I just want to import any Python file, so we simply write import m. Okay, after that I could just make out a function, let's say div, and that function is let's say that is monkey underscore f. Okay, and into the bracket self would be not be passed. Yeah, that self would be passed because that one has, okay, because we have taken this thing from the class, so self would automatically pass. And here I could just simply write out a print statement, and I could simply print here okay, I could simply print here monkey underscore f, and I'm going to put out the brackets like this, right? And after this, what I could just do, make out one of my objects for the class right here. Okay, so what I would just do here is that I'll be simply writing m dot, and what was the name for my class? That was a, right? So I could just write m dot a, and after that I could just put out a dot here, and I can write here okay, the function which you have defined above, that was 1, right? So m dot a dot 1, which is equal to, and now this is equal to this function which is monkey underscore f, right? Now after coming on to a new line, I'll be making the object for this class. So let's say object is okay, let's say that is obj. Okay, obj dot m dot, and my class name was a, so I just made out that class object, and I would just simply write here obj dot, and I could simply call out the 1 here, right? So this is how actually we just perform out the monkey patching here. This is the example which I have told you. This is how we actually perform out the monkey patching. Hope you just got this idea very much clearly, that how we just do that thing, right? Now what next we are going to do out here? So next we'll be seeing that how to import out the modules in Python. Okay, next we'll be seeing that how to import out the modules in Python. Right here, let's get started, and let me just first of all come down here this place. Okay, let me just go above a little right here. Fine. So how to import out modules in Python? So I would just write here that modules can be imported using the import keyword. Right now, just above the, just in the previous question, we have used out that import keyword, right? So the modules which we have in the Python programming, they can be imported using the import keyword. Okay, import is a keyword that we actually use for importing out some modules or libraries, whatever you are having actually, right? Now, after that, you can import the modules in 3 ways. Okay, we basically have 3 ways, modules 3 ways. Okay, we basically have 3 ways for importing out the modules. Let me just come down here. Fine, so let's go on with the example that is right here. Now what I would just do here is that I would be starting, let's say my first one is import, and that is import array. First of all, this is how we just do it out. So now what does this line actually mean? So this, I would just put out a comment here, and I would just write what I'm just doing here right as well. So I would just write here importing using the original name. So this is the procedure, that whatever the module name you are having, you are just importing out that module name with its original name, right? Okay, this one is the very first procedure that we actually have. Next one which we have, we can just simply write import, and let's say my module is array. Okay, so I would just write import array, and now even I can just give it a short form as well. So that is import array as ARR. So now wherever you just want to use out this wherever you just want to use out this array module, you can simply write ARR. So for this, I could just write that in the above statement what I am doing. So I am importing using and nice name, right? I could just use and the like another name, you can just call it, fine. So importing it using the another name. Third one is we have another way, and that is I could just write that from array import asterisk. Now this is the actually, okay, let me remove out the sign because it's not looking like asterisk sign, and maybe you just get confused at that case, right? So I could just put out this color as well, and I could just put it like this, fine. So from array import asterisk, now what do I just meant from this word, that from array import asterisk? So whenever we just write something like this, so it means that we are importing each and everything, whatever you have, into this particular library. Okay, so I could just write here that imports everything present in the array module, okay, array module. So whatever the things you are having into the array module, it will import each and everything for you. Let me just give you an idea that what three ways we have actually taken out here. So first one was to import out the whole name, that is like import array here, which I have written out at this place. Okay, import and then array. Second method which we have used was import array as ARR. Like this we have used, so that was import array as ARR. So this means in this case we had just given out a short name to this array, right? And the third one was I just wrote from array import asterisk. So this means that whatever the things, whatever the functions and whatever the things you are having just inside this array one, just import out each and everything. So I just wrote out that thing here. Right, so this is how we just, these are the three ways how we just import out the modules in the Python programming, right? Let me just come down here and search where is my next question gone. Okay, here we have. And let me just take it to above at the particular place. Okay, right here. Fine. Okay, let me just hit out enter so that you're able to see out the whole question. Fine. Now, my question says that what is the process of compilation and linking in Python programming? What's the procedure of doing this compilation and linking in Python? Okay. Now, first of all, let's understand that what is this compilation and linking, and then we'll see that what's the procedure for doing both of these things, right? Fine. So I would just start writing out here that the compiling and linking, what do they actually allow us to do, what they do actually do. Okay, so the compiling and linking allows the new extensions to be compiled. The compiling and linking allows the new extensions to be compiled properly, without any error, to be compiled properly without any error. Okay, this is the use of the compilation. And what about the linking? Linking can be done only when it passes the compiled procedure, So here we go with the procedure, right? So okay, so linking can be done only when it passes the compiled procedure. Fine. Now basically, now let's see that what are the steps that are required for doing out these things here. So let me just come down and I would just start writing out the different steps that are required in this. So first step is that create out a file. Okay, create a file with any name and in any language. So your very first thing is to create out a file with with a name and any language that actually supports your compiler of the system, right? Whatever the file you are making and whatever the language you are using, that should actually support out the compiler of your system. Okay, right. Now after that, what's the second thing that you need to do out here? So the second thing is that place the file in the module. Okay, let me just come down. Fine. Okay, so place the file in the module /directory TORY. Okay, so place the file in the module /directory of the distribution which is getting used. Okay, which is getting used. So basically whatever the module or the directory you are using for the distribution which is basically getting used, so in that directory module put out this file. Okay, third step is add a line in the file setup, add a line in the file setup dot local in a set. Okay, let me come down. Okay, add a line in the file setup dot local that is present in the module in the directory. That is present in the module or the directory. Add a line into that file setup dot local where that is present in the module or the directory. Right, after that run the file using spam file.o. Okay, run it the file like this, and after that basically after successful run of these things of the like basically, then basically you need to rebuild the interpreter by using the system. Okay, by using the like you need to like rebuild the interpreter by using the command, by using basically we have a make command. Let me write out that thing, make command. So with the help of this command, you need to basically rebuild the interpreter on the top level directory. Okay, this is the next step that you need to follow. And the last number 6 is that if the file is changed, then run the rebuild or the maker file which you have made out by using the command that is make file. That is okay command. Let me write out that is make file. Right, this is the whole procedure for doing out the compilation and linking in Python, right? So basically, I hope that you have got all the 5 questions very much clearly. That was for question which we have seen that how to create an empty class in the Python. Second was define encapsulation. Third was what is monkey patching in Python. Fourth was basically how to import modules in Python, and fifth one was that what is the process of compilation and linking in Python. Right, so these are the things which we have seen today, and hope you just got all the questions very much clearly, because these are the very important questions which can be asked in the Python interviews to you. So you can just remember them as well and understand them as well in a very clear way, right? So this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and take care.